Now, the one that really caught my attention and why I came back on the board is this 986 and 987. And 986, which is the Breitbart article, which is Jonathan Turley, the professor of law school at Georgetown, who made very clear in that article, and I pulled up the article, that he was arguing that Huber is a Utah lawyer, not a D.C. lawyer, and that distance between him and Washington is very important, Turley explained, because Huber is not part of the deep state. That is not cozy buddies with a cocktail party scene that is suspected of perpetrating all these actions against President Trump and his administration. Turley said Trump should be happy that Sessions chose this route of appointing Huber, who has the power to seek indictments and prosecute cases, and team him up with Horowitz, who has 470 investigators at his disposal. The president wants to see swift and decisive action. If a special counsel were appointed, there'd be a great deal of delay, Turley stated, versus the team of Huber and Horowitz, who are already 5 months into the investigation. And it turns out from what Turley was saying in this article that Inspector General's jurisdiction extends not only to allegations of legal violations, but also to allegations that department employees violated established practices as well. Sessions added in his letter, which means that the IG's report can hold people accountable even for actions that do not violate a specific statute. And also the grand jury that Huber calls could be called in Utah, the heart of Trump company, instead of the D.C. swamp that decides whether to hand down indictments for felony prosecutions. And it can extend to also cases where people have left the Department of Justice. This article also made clear. Where did he say that? You have staff of 470 investigators giving Huber access to enormous investigative firepower that exceeds the staff of any special counsel. Remember, this is what we were arguing earlier today when we focused on the conservative greenhouse arguments, that I came to the conclusion, and just like listening to Turley, reading all of this, thinking about it, that Sessions is very serious with this Huber, and it has the potential to lead to some very serious indictments, combining the knowledge of the Inspector General, who usually is not allowed to do prosecutions, with the prosecutor who can bring charges and seek indictments and get results, President Trump, far more quickly than a second special counsel. Okay, and Jonathan Turley, who's national, Turley knows what he's talking about, and he sent the letter. He sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee Goodlatte, House Oversight Chairman Gowdy, Judiciary Committee Chairman Grassley, Senator Grassley, informing that Huber is conducting a full-fledged criminal investigation into all the matters Republicans are calling for the special prosecutor to investigate. So not only Hillary and the email scandal and the Uranium One scandal, but also the FISA court application. And I think this is so when we come back here to Q, who's citing this article, why was this made public? Well, I think basically Sessions wants everybody to know he's doing something now. The counterattack has begun. And who was John Huber appointed by? Well, Huber was appointed by Obama 2015. He offered his resignation in March 2017 at the request of the Trump administration, when the Trump administration asked for all the U.S. attorneys to submit their resignation. But however, Sessions appointed him as interim U.S. attorney under the Federal Vacancies Reform Act, and then Trump renominated him in June 2017. August 2017, he was confirmed. So he has 4 more years as a term as a U.S. attorney in Utah, which makes him very secure and gives him plenty of time. But he, it's a combination. He was removed by Trump. He was reappointed by Trump. Why the reboot? Well, again, that's all part of the, this makes him a truly, the Democrats can't say, well, you picked somebody that, that Obama hated. He was Obama's pick. And so he's got a clear bipartisan feel to him because he was appointed by Obama initially in the position as U.S. Attorney in Utah. And I think it says think logically history books. Well, this could be the type of a decision that's going to redeem Sessions. And Sessions did not rule out a special prosecutor. If what we find out from the Inspector General or combination Inspector General and John Huber is that there's conflicts of interest or other issues that are beyond their scope of authority, then Sessions could look to the special prosecutor legislation and be able to fulfill its requirements, namely conflict of interest, etc., which would then, in strict interpretation of the law, which I think Sessions is following, justify the appointment of a special counselor, which might yet happen. But this, I think, is shaping up to be a very, very strong ability to go after the criminals in the Department of Justice and the FBI as the first tier of what they're going to go after. After that, maybe we do need a special counselor, or maybe we need a military tribunal by the time it reaches beyond the FISA court into the White House.
There's an Anon that wrote, Sessions informed Congress in his letter that all matters recommended for investigation by Gowdy and Grassley are fully within the scope of Huber's existing mandate. He also informed the chairman that Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who is working with Huber, has a staff of 400 investigators, giving Huber access to enormous investigative firepower that far exceeds the staff of any special counsel.
Correct. And they've all been working together. They don't have to start from scratch. And what they were developing for Horowitz as reporting for, Horowitz does not have the ability to indict. Now, in partnership with Huber, they can take that information and bring it into an indictment. And the, 487, what was Sessions specifically recused from? Only the Russian investigation. So Sessions can participate in all the rest of this fully. There's nothing that blocks him from being totally involved with Horowitz and Huber.
And I believe it actually restricts it only to investigations related to the campaign, not to anything after the campaign.
I think that's correct. Okay, also the this Justice Media Relations restricts Sessions from talking about ongoing investigations. So, Sessions has laid out the groundwork here, but he hasn't made any reference to specific investigations that are going on. It doesn't mean there aren't any. We could have already have a grand jury. We could have already had pretty far along the process of the first indictments that are going to come down, especially when we realize that the conservative treehouse was correct in specifying that they're a group non-cooperating who have left the Department of Justice or the FBI and cooperating that are sitting in place, having reached deals, which sounds like they probably have already know that they're guilty and are in the process of cooperating in order to reduce their culpability when they're finally indicted. So what I think this does is today, we look at how we today focused on these exact questions. And in fact, tonight, when I said I think these are glorious, I think this is it's beginning of the counterattack. Now, also look at what's up on Drudge right now. Drudge on the left-hand column says that Mueller shrouds his investigation in secrecy. This has to do with a Freedom of Information request on one of the peripheral cases that has not gotten much attention. And I'm not going to focus a lot on this one because I think it's really not the key issue. The key one I wanted to point out is the second, where he eyes Roger Stone's claim of an Assange meeting. Now, this ties into, I think, why they picked up Malik. I think they believe, prosecutors believe Malik probably has some tie with Assange, maybe through Farage in London. I can't say a 1,000% because I don't know everything that Ted has done, but I know 1,000% that I've had no contact with Assange or Kim.com. I wrote this again today after Kim.com tweeted last night that my book had been blocked by the New York Times bestseller list. I appreciated that he did it, but I have no contact with Kim.com or with either of the goose of hers. I know I've had no contact and didn't want any contact. As I explained in that article today, when I thought about contacting Assange, I knew immediately, given all the work I've done with intelligence, as soon as I got in touch with Assange, I would immediately show up on the intelligence radar of a dozen intelligence agencies all over the world. And there's no point in doing that. So I just said, I'm not going to bother. We'll wait and see what he does. And, that was the best position for me. And so I have nothing to explain because I didn't talk to Assange or communicate with him in any way. Made no attempt to do so. Now, Roger Stone, if they're down to Roger Stone and trying to connect Malik and Stone, and these are the guys who are the real connectors in the so-called Russian collusion, then Mueller's totally out of gas, because Stone said he wrote this note, I think, to Sam Nunberg, saying he was going to have dinner with Assange. Well, he wrote that note. He was flying out of Los Angeles the night before the email. He was thousands of miles away from the London Ecuador embassy, where Assange was holed up since 2012. Stone provided screenshots for a person named Roger in a Delta flight departing Los Angeles for Miami on August 3rd. The airline confirmed the flight matching his screenshot, but declined to say whether he was aboard. Stone was on that flight, and Stone was just pulling Nunberg's leg. He didn't. I don't believe Stone has ever met Assange.
We just got a new post.
Okay.
All right, let me read through this really quick. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, but so my point is that if that's all that Mueller has, he's really out of gas. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. All right, so this new post, somewhat long one here. April, A in brackets. IG report. Sessions public attack. Rod Rosenstein problems. Seals broken. Arrests with the A in brackets, just the letter A. Why was Huber made public? Why now? Everything has meaning. Awan with the letter A, again in brackets, just the letter A. Tarmac. Iran. North Korea. Uranium One. FBI. DOJ. Mueller. Election integrity. Immigration bill. Border. Wall. Military start. Big month. Q.
Okay, now, what I think this April, the IG report, I guess, is going to come out this month. So we're going to know what Horowitz says. And Sessions' public attack. Sessions has both been attacked, and now this is going to be his public attack. Rod Rosenstein's got problems. I've said this to begin with, especially if Horowitz has looked at uranium-1 and the suppression of the information on the Russian bribery scheme before the CFIUS took its vote to allow Russia to buy 100% of uranium-1. And this was signaled or telegraphed, I believe, when Trump wanted to bring Joe diGenova into his White House counsel staff, because Joe's married to Virginia Townsend, whose client is William Campbell, who is the lead whistleblower on the Russian bribery scheme. Seals broken. Well, I guess some of these indictments that are going to be sealed are going to be unsealed, and maybe some of them do apply here. Arrests. There's, the AAA, third A being Awan, which came out again yesterday. Why was Huber made public? Well, again, why now? Everything has meaning. The stage is set. I understood it. Conservative Treehouse understood it before Easter.
Hey, this was 989.
Yep, another new one.
Okay. Do you want to do that one, or do you want to finish this one?
This is a quick one. I'll go ahead and read it out. It's just says Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, Google, big problems. That's it.
Well, okay, so as we're decoding this other one, I just lost it here for a second. Pull it back up again. It's not, it's in and out. Oh, let's see. I'm losing it here on it's not in the browser yet. Hold on.
Sure. You're talking about the one that started with April?
Yeah.
3 A's in brackets.
Yeah, I want to read it again. I've lost it.
Oh.
Can you repost it in Discord?
Here, yeah, let me copy and paste it.
Jack, dude, it's right there.
Okay, well,
there it is.
okay, so everything has been Awan Tarmac. So the Tarmac is the meeting with Loretta Lynch. That's going to come out. AAA, anti-aircraft artillery. That's interesting. Iran, North Korea, uranium-1. Both the FBI and DOJ and all their criminality. Mueller is going to be done in on this uranium-1. Mueller's finished. Mueller's dead meat. Election integrity, we're going to get the Department of Homeland Security out. There'll be an immigration bill. We're going to get a new wall. The wall's going to be built. Someone's got an open mic.
Fixed. I just muted him.
The border and the wall are going to be there. Military start. I'm convinced that Trump will call out either the National Guard or the military to prevent these Central Americans from crossing the border. The border security, the Border Patrol has got their hands tied because they'll have to engage in this catch and release. And they'll be released into the United States, in which case they'll never be gotten rid of. And then they'll claim, privileges of all kinds and file all kinds of motions for asylum. And the left will make sure that they're never gotten rid of. So this is the start of the military. So not only are we going to see the IG report and both Rosenstein and Mueller, whom I've been saying are connected, are going to have now serious problems. We're going to have the A1 brothers going to be back into the act. We're going to deal with Iran and North Korea. We're going to have uranium-1 exposed. The Department of Homeland Security is going to tell us about all the violations of the election laws that the Democrats have done for decades. We're going to have a wall and the money in a new immigration bill if we need it. And the military will be called out to prevent this invasion. I think that's all pretty amazing stuff. Now, is the let's see the next one. Can you post it up in Discord?
Sure.
No, Mueller is dead. Mueller is dead meat because Mueller was part of quashing. Does everybody understand this? Prior to the CFIUS vote, second CFIUS vote, CFIUS, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, which voted to allow Russia to buy 100% of Uranium One. There was an investigation going on when Mueller was head of the FBI. They knew from this whistleblower named William Campbell that Russia had been trying to do bribery schemes in the uranium industry in the United States. And this was being investigated by Rosenstein, I believe in one of the states like Virginia, wherever Rosenstein was at that time stationed, and Mueller as head of the FBI. Instead of bringing this information to CFIUS, disclosing it, which probably would have been a roadblock in allowing Russia to buy Uranium One, for which Hillary was going to get a $147 million payoff to the Clinton Foundation, Mueller and Rosenstein squashed that information. They covered it up. And when that's disclosed, I think that's a crime. And it may implicate them in a pay-to-play scheme. And they will both be facing criminal charges, I believe. Okay, so it is not that he's dead meat because they're done with him. He's fulfilled his obligations. He's dead meat because he reinserted himself in an attempt to get Trump on the Russian collusion, which was a false lying meme from the narrative from the beginning. Comey said as much when he testified under oath to Congress and said there was no ability of the FBI to validate or authenticate the claims in the Fusion 1 document. And so Mueller took the assignment to be special counselor, thought he would have to find something, found nothing, and now the tables are going to turn on him. Because as I've been recommending, I even wrote an article on this in InfoWars, as soon as he and Rosenstein are under investigation for cover-up in the Russian bribery scheme in the uranium industry, they both have to resign. Now this last one, Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, Google, big problems, Q. These are going to collapse. Okay, now collapse. Facebook is going to be losing billions in market capital, and its credibility has been undermined. Zuckerberg is not capable of defending Facebook because he's lied about privacy. He sold the data that he promised would never be sold. He allowed political organizations to use it, and he gave it to the CIA and the FBI and the NSA. Amazon, Bezos, Washington Post, Trump said they should be a lobbyist. Been mad about their concentration of market power. Wants the Federal Trade Commission to examine them too for privacy and for market concentration, antitrust. Same with Twitter. Same with Google. They will all be regulated. Internet Bill of Rights will begin to be debated in Congress, and all these companies will be broken up. And there will be criminal prosecutions in all four of them. That's my prediction on it. It's just the beginning. Market capitalization of the tech industry will possibly cause serious disruption in the stock market on a temporary basis, because the underlying economy is so strong, I think can absorb the collapse of these social media overvalued giants. And the blow to Silicon Valley is going to be massive, as it too is exposed for military-industrial complex penetration and CIA involvement. All these are artifacts of the CIA. The CIA has controlled the internet, and they're using it so we use social media to self-volunteer all our information to the federal government, intelligence agencies. Okay, that's my take on that. And I think that that's all consistent with what we've been talking about so far, and pretty much what I've been expecting. That makes today, as I said, these would be glorious posts from Q, and I think they are earth-shaking tonight. Any comments over here in the live chat? Yes, Rosenstein. Was Rosenstein in Baltimore at that time? Yes. Okay, let's see. I still don't think, so there's somebody asking about Assange. I don't think Assange has been seen since Christmas in the embassy. It's supposed to be there, but remember, I've decoded that one Q post which suggested he had been extricated around Christmas time to Switzerland. There could be an executive order on the catch and release. That's another possible executive order that might be coming down. That Trump will just sign one and say, Border Patrol is instructed to turn all these people back to Mexico and put the military on the border possibly, or the National Guard. Yes, Mueller took samples of uranium to Russia. I'm just reading now some of the comments being made over here. There is an argument that Sessions' recusal was not valid and was not based on correct grounds, that Rosenstein misled him. But I think the fact that the Russian collusion investigation is coming to an end means that Sessions' recusal on that investigation is a moot point. I think, how confident am I that Trump will call the National Guard or have the military stand on the border? Trump tasked today the Department of Homeland Security to give him his options. So he's looking into it. And I don't think Trump is about to let these people pass into the country.
There's a 990.
One more drop. What is this one?
Okay, so an Anon says, I still follow your lead on all this, and in parentheses, relying more on the inquiry of those digging here. But March wasn't nearly as mad as what you sold us. Please don't break us up please don't build us up to break us down, Q. And Q responded, NK, Q.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want? We just had North Korea say that they don't need to pursue nuclear weapons. Wasn't that enough for 1 month?
Absolutely.
I mean, how many
enough for a year or two.
It'd be enough for most presidents for their entire legacy.
how many
Look,
presidents had the chance to denuclearize North Korea?
many of them, they didn't do it. The point is that people over on the, in general, have been so impatient. They want to see Hillary Clinton in yellow jumpsuit or orange jumpsuit. They want indictments. That's the only thing they think that's happening.
That's like the only thing that's going to qualify as March Madness for them, I guess.
That's kind of like the suggestion. That's unless Hillary was charged with treason, they weren't satisfied. Q let them down. Well, Q just answered it. I would take North Korea. That ought to be March Madness. And the expectation that people have that this is going to be over quickly. I keep reminding everyone that the Trump counterattack is going to take through this year and probably a good part of next year, maybe right up until he has to face re-election. And that won't be a bad thing as long as the criminals are being brought to justice. But it is not people who think that this is going to be like, a 30-minute sitcom where they can have it all begin, develop, and end within 30 minutes, better go back to television, because this is going to take time. But momentous things are happening. You know, this appointment of Huber is a game changer. It's that important. And you've got to appreciate the ramifications of it, in that, you know, the time we spent today on the conservative treehouse and positioning those in the Department of Justice and the FBI that are either now fired or summarily parked until needed as part of a plea deal, strongly suggests that Huber and Horowitz are on the path of getting indictments. And I see nothing to indicate otherwise. And Mueller, the way he called Malik was, you know, like I said, a bad Jimmy Cagney movie. He was a thug, stupid, brutal, and it means he's out of gas. He's desperate. He's panicked. People who work for him have now completely blown it. And Malik is not going to deliver them the Roger Stone mother lode, because I'm sorry, but Roger Stone didn't conspire with Assange. Seth Rich did. And the left refuses to accept that. Okay, now my voice is going pretty fast, and I had not planned to come back on. There may be some more, but I think we've gotten what I was expecting that we would hear is the 988 and the 989 and the 987, that the clarification of Huber in his role, the fact that April we're going to have, you know, the IG report and the election report from the Department of Homeland Security, that these various events are going to begin unfolding. I think it reassuring on the border. Trump will use it for a new bill and get funding on the wall. Military starts, big month. Military start, big month. This is where the military starts getting involved. And remember, this is a Trump counterattack, and it's going to be the military coup that did not take place when they asked Trump to come in. This is basically what we're now going to see unfold. Here's another one. Somebody said tippy top shape. What does that refer to? It was
991.
Yeah, 991. What does tippy top shape mean?
It's replying to, let's see. It's replying to the post with April. It begins with April. That's the post it's replying to. I'm not quite sure what tippy top shape is.
It was requested. Did you listen today?
It was requested.
You're gonna have to look at those over on.
That's in the new 991 post.
Yeah, we're looking at 991. We're reading it now.
Oh, his speech at the Easter egg roll. That's it.
What did he say about tippy?
Pulling it up just a second. It was in his speech. I just got to see if I can find a transcript. All right, here we go. Pulling it up. Let's see if I can find exactly where it's mentioned here. Third paragraph?
What's it say?
Okay, here we go. The entire third paragraph here reads, also, I want to thank the White House Historical Association and all of the people that work so hard with Melania, with everybody, to keep this incredible house or building, or whatever you want to call it, because there really is no name for it. It is special, and we keep it in tip-top shape. We call it sometimes tippy-top shape, and it's a great, great place. It's interesting.
It says it was requested.
Oh, oh man. If I'm following this right, I think somebody must have requested it on the chance. Must have requested that Trump say it as a proof that Q is real, or something like that. That happened before. If you recall, somebody asked Q to have the president mention the word axe in a tweet, and Trump did not mention it himself in a tweet, but an FBI tweet went out that had a picture of an axe. This is, I think, something along the same lines, if I'm guessing right.
Could be a wink.
It's a wink.
Wow. Well, that's pretty big.
What's that? That wink?
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Tippy top shape.
So somebody requested it on 129.18. Maybe Q can work the phrase tip top into the State of the Union as a shout out to the board.
Wow.
There you are.
Wow.
Mega R Anon in live chat says seems a little silly. I think that's kind of the point. It's something that Trump would never normally say. I think that was the entire point. Have him say something very unusual. That is pretty huge. I mean, we all know this is real, but that's just more confirmation. That's a pretty big one too.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if it was said as a joke, knowing he would never like actually say those words.
Well, it's such a ridiculous thing to say that when he did say it, it had to have been a wink.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
I love that.
Okay, well, look, this is, I think we've got, that we may get more, but I'm going to need to, I'm still not 100%. I don't want to go back to being sick again. So I'm going to try to call it quits here. I've pretty much overdone it again today. So it's very difficult not to overdo it in these days. There's just so much going on. But I think we've the decode that we did earlier today fits in consistently with what we're seeing tonight. And if you listen to tonight and the one we did earlier today, I think you're going to have a very excellent idea where Trump is going on this counterattack with Sessions, Huber, and Horowitz. And if we get, in addition to it, the Department of Homeland Security voting study this month, and Trump uses this Mexican invasion deal to both get impetus for the wall, maybe even a new immigration bill, more funding, and uses it as a basis on which the military becomes involved. April will be a hugely game-changing month. And I think it's on the way. And I think Sessions understands now the role, and the Russian collusion is over. So his having recluded him, taking himself out of the whole Russian deal is no longer relevant. And Mueller and Rosenstein are about to face themselves some criminal investigations. Rosenstein's investigation attempt to prop up Mueller, which has been doing, has now failed. Mueller has failed. And the attempt to frame Roger Stone is going to be pathetically silly and stupid, because Roger said repeatedly that it wasn't involved. And I see zero evidence that Roger had anything. I know I had nothing to do with Assange. And I'm confident that Roger didn't either. And that's the basis that the last straw that Mueller is pursuing, and he felt it justified picking Ted Mallock up at the airport, separating him from his wife, questioning him at Boston Logan, and confiscating his cell phone. Those are going to be actions that Mueller, I believe, is going to come to regret. Okay, so I'm going to sign off and say God bless, and we'll catch up with everybody tomorrow.
Great. God bless
Thanks
you.
very much.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much, Dr. Corsi.
Okay, bye-bye.